Australia recently passed its laws that would, in a year's time, ban social media access for those under 16 for certain platforms. But how does that work? Well, I think this is a great opportunity to explain what a minister does and how executive power operates in Australia. So, if you're unaware, there are three separate powers or branches of government in Australia. Parliament is the easiest to explain. That's where they make the laws. The judiciary, the court system, interprets and applies those laws. And then there is the executive government, the one that puts those laws into action. But what does that last one mean? So, back to our social media ban example, right? The law does not state what social media platforms will be banned. That is actually very standard about how laws get written in Australia, because there is this thing called delegated legislation. Basically, there is a bunch of actual nuance to how things work and what they should apply to in what context that is just left up to the minister of the day to decide using their executive power. And this makes sense, right? Like if you wrote a list of exact social media platforms into your legislation and then a company made a new one, that one's suddenly exempt from the law because it's not listed. What are you going to do? Well, you could go through the inefficient process of introducing a whole new amendment bill just for that one new thing, or you could write in the original legislation, insert here a bunch of characteristics and definitions, and the minister may make a decision about if a social media platform applies if it adheres to the following characteristics. So there is a legislative and legal framework that the minister has to exercise their executive power within, but there is also this open element of like, well, you as the minister make a decision, how should this law operate? How should it be put into action? Now, the thing is, right, this is very common. In fact, 50% of Commonwealth legislation is delegated legislation. But don't get me wrong, like this is not like, hey, just, you go off and just do whatever you like. No. Every single form of delegated legislation by a minister must be tabled in Parliament where it is examined and could be disallowed, undone by a vote of Parliament. And also there's the possibility that a minister overextends their power beyond the legal framework, at which point the courts can come in and go, no, that's illegal, and nullify the minister's decision. So legislation like the social media ban, it's just there to create a framework and a series of restrictions that the minister has to work within. The actual details of how it operates is up to the minister of the day.